Rivers flow all through golden dreams in the hills where treasures gleam. Hand in shovel, steady hand, searching for a promised land. Under starlit skies we roam, finding peace our hearts find home.
Tuesday night, let's gather around. Friends and fam, the vibes are clear. With great guests, the stories to tell. A treasure of laughs we know so well. Hang out live where we all thrive. Camaraderie shines and dreams come alive. FlashFam strong, we're digging the gold. Together we sparkle and stories unfold. So join the stream, the time is right. It's Tuesday night, so let's gather around. Tuesday night, hang out live. It's Tuesday night, let's gather round. Flashing a pan is the place we found. Golden treasure, stories to share. FlashFam's here, good vibes are in the air. Tuesday night, hang out live. Digging for dreams till the night is done. Join the crew while the treasure thrives. It's Tuesday night, hang out live. So grab your pan and bring a cheer. FlashFam's call and the gang's all here. Tuesday night, we're going strong. Come join the stream where you belong. It's Tuesday night, let's gather around. Flashing pan is the place we found. Golden treasure, source to share. The FlashFam's here, good vibes are in the air. Tuesday night, hang out live. Dig it, dreams of the night is up. Join the crew and the treasure thrives. Tuesday night, hang out live. So grab your pan and bring your cheer. FlashFam's calling, the gang's all here. Tuesday night, hang out live. We're going strong, and join the stream where you belong. Tuesday night, let's get around. Let's keep the place the place we found. Don't let change, always the chill. FlashFam turn the vibes like the air. Tuesday night, hang out live. 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 Join that crew and treasure prize. It's Tuesday night, hang out live. So back up and break your cheer. FlashFam told to get to hell. Tuesday night, hang out live. Tuesday night, hang out live. Tuesday night, hang out live. Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night, let's gather round. Flashing your pan is the place we found. Golden treasure, stories to share. The FlashFam's here, good vibes are in the air. Tuesday night, hang out live. Dig for dreams till the night is done. Join the crew where the treasure prize. It's Tuesday night, hang out live. So grab your pan and bring your cheer. FlashFam's calling, the gang's all here. Tuesday night, hang out live. We're going strong, but join the stream where you belong.
Let's gather around, friends outside. The vibes are clear, with great guests and stories to tell. The treasure of lives, we know so bad, where we all thrive. Camaraderie shines, the dreams gone alive. Just flash we're on, to dig in and go. We step through the small, and stories unfold.
It's Tuesday night, gather round. Friends and family, good vibes all around. Bring gifts, stories to tell. Treasure of life, we know so well. Tuesday night, where we all thrive. Memories shine, dreams come alive. FlashFam's come, we're digging the gold. Together we spark, the stories unfold. Going to dream, the time to grind. Tuesday night, so let's gather around. Tuesday night, hang out live.
Hey, YouTubers and friends, how are each and every one of you doing tonight? Great, I hope. I had a rain day today. Drove an hour, sat an hour, drove an hour. Been working behind here and doing some other stuff. Well, my guest tonight did not come in when I first sent him the link for pre-show. So I just didn't get to talk to him and go over some things, but he's in the backstage now. He's from, well, farther inland than the Inland Empire in Southern California, around the Palm Springs, Inyo County, I believe. We'll find out more. I found him through a series he was doing with his late father, Dusty Desert Trails, I believe it was, where his dad went around the Death Valley area talking about mining history and stuff. And when I contacted him, I thought I was getting a hold of the gentleman in the videos, and to find out it was his dad. But you're going to get a double dose of Ed's tonight, because Ed's backstage patiently waiting. Unfortunately, like I said, we had no pre-show meeting. So we're going to shoot from the hip like we usually do on this New Year's Eve. We're rolling into 2025. Tonight, JP's Bar goes live at 9, so open another tab, go over there and bounce back and forth. I do have an end of stream sticker pack to give away, and I'll be linking. I have a redirect link to Mama Bird's live New Year's Eve stream at 10 o'clock. So hopefully we won't burn up too much time after 10, and we'll all have a good night, because right now we have the treasure hand, the treasure fam, the FlashFam in the house. No better community out there than, I have to say, the whole treasure hand, because there's so many treasure seekers that without one, that hand be useless. Catch my drift? Whatever. Enough jibber jabber, Ed. Let's get this party started. Ed's waiting. I don't think he can hear me. He might be able to hear me. I know when I'm doing like my intro and countdown, you can't, but he might be able to hear me now, because I see him laughing back there backstage and just gave me a thumbs up. So, yep. 1 second, Ed. I need to say hi to all these great people in my live chat room before I bring you in to torture you. Megadog555 in the house. Thank you very much for being the first in line. Moons over Miami. Gene, nice little e-scooter you got in the mail. I can't wait to see it put together and on the road. World's greatest moderator, the one and only Mr. Lodak. Then we have Gentleman Prospector, and the other half, Mama Bird. Great to see you. Mi amigo David Villa. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien. Dorothy, good to see you. My mother's name was spelled the exact same way. Alaskan Assassin Adventures, always good to see you, brother. Looters 8, Frank, my good friend Victor Manzo. I call him the Vicster. He calls me the Edster. We've been calling each other that for decades. Good to see you. Loretta, great seeing you. Keep digging. Been a while too long. It's great to see you back and about, but with treasure hunters, wintertime's the busier time. I'm almost down to the list. Keep up the good work, Nightbot. Don't be too annoying. David Alfonsetti Art. Good to see you, Eric. MRE reviews and more. I do have envelopes and packages almost ready to go out. Prairie Prospecting, good to see you. Bear Prospecting, good to see you. Brian, Annie, all of you. Grandma Kelly's in the house. Good seeing you, sister. Paul C. Yeah. Hobo Rob, always great seeing each and every one of you. All right. Mitch, Graveyard Digger, or Graveyard Prospector. Sorry, Mitch. Cottonwood Trails Gold Camp, Jim and Shannon. Good seeing you guys. All right. Be back in a flash. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. With your host, Ed Marvin. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
Welcome, Ed.
How's it going?
Not too bad. You have me worried.
Oh, I just got the got the link from you just a few minutes ago, so I was like, oh, okay.
That was the second one I sent. If you look in the message, one message was unsent because I kind of gave up, and I'm like, okay, I'm about ready to roll my countdown in about 2 minutes, and then I said, what the heck, I'm gonna send it again, and lo and behold, you saw it. And I was still kind of iffy if you were going to pop in the backstage, but lo and behold, here you are. Everyone, welcome Ed to, I'm not even going to try and butcher your last name, Ed, but welcome to Tuesday Night Hangout Live and Flash in Your Pan.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I know evidently you could hear when you were backstage, so you heard and when I first reached out to you, I thought I was talking to your dad, until you told me, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I did like that video on the roads. You just I just watched a video of yours on the roads, podcaster or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's some new equipment I've picked up, so I can do some support for various performances for the kids and stuff like that. So, but as far as what I'm doing and everything, especially with my dad, we would go out to Ballarat Ghost Town every year for Easter break. Go riding up in the hills with motorcycles, exploring mines, different ghost towns up in the area, and so it was always really awesome to be able to hear him tell the different stories, because he would sponge so much knowledge from various different books and everything. And so I just decided, hey, one day, hey, why don't we go ahead and start up a little video series with you and just let you just kind of spew some of this knowledge that he's obtained over the years for all these various locations. And that's kind of what it became. What was really interesting about doing this project with my dad, we first targeted Barker Ranch area, and then he started looking at all the different stuff, artifacts in one of the
Barker Ranch, ain't that where the notorious Manson family hung out at?
Exactly. Manson family was caught back there in '69, I believe. And so that was the first little trip that we did with the intention of just capturing video and then going through the history of the sites and everything. Found all kinds of things, stories I never heard before, even though I've been camping with him for years and years. He got involved in the clampers as well, ECV. So he was always helping put out plaques and monuments and giving other historical tours. But it was my turn to kind of get a tour with him. And so turned the camera on and start rolling. And all of a sudden he started calling himself Dusty. And I never understood why. So, but later on, unfortunately, he ended up passing away just a couple of years ago. But I finally understood what he meant when he started calling himself Dusty. And that was to don't be afraid to crack open a history book, do some research, and then get out and there and explore and get a little dusty while you experience some of the old history. And I think that was really the essence of what he was trying to do. And so I've been trying to continue on some of that with some of the historical videos and visits to various locations.
Right. I'm kind of a shorts junkie, and that's what I caught a lot of his shorts. And I'm like, man, he'd be a really interesting guy in the Ballarat area and around Inyo County and Death Valley. And oh god, the don't think I saw any from like Keller, but I thought I saw one of the Keene mine. And was there one of the Keene mine tram?
No, we were focusing on Ballarat. Sorry, the first two episodes was Barker Ranch. Episode 3 was all around Ballarat and the tour of the town. Episode 4 was we were talking about Surprise Canyon and the various different things we would find on Surprise Canyon. There was a couple mining sites there. Specifically, it was good grief! It was the Chris Wick's camp. So we toured Chris Wick's camp and see all the mine tailings and of the site there. Unfortunately, that place burned down, and then they came in and cleaned the whole area up. There was old cyanide pits, batteries all over the place, and so now you can still find some of the old ground up ore and some of the old equipment still in place, but not all of it. And then what was really cool is we were also trying to kind of use it as an excuse to kind of play into some of the old videos I used to do. I learned doing videography he just handed me the camera and said, here, record this, while we started hauling these 2-wheel drive motorcycles up and over the waterfalls in order to get all the way up to Panamint City. And so that was the biggest part for me, and that's how I kind of really got started with all this. And then so that was episode 5. We even talked about the old toll booth getting up into Surprise Canyon that somebody built, because the ones that actually built the road were charging a toll. And then while they were sitting there, they had a little Spanish Arasta, and they were processing ore right there while they're waiting for people to come up.
I believe I saw some shorts on that too, because he showed an area where the guys would hide out in the shade, while they were waiting for people and not crushing ore. So, yeah. Boy, I'm a native California, even though I claim Washington as home. Uh, but I lived a lot closer to the coast. About the only time I would drive through Inyo is heading up to Mammoth Mountain.
Yeah, so I'm currently in Ridgecrest, but the funny thing is, every year we would go out to Ballarat, and we actually stopped in Ridgecrest along the way a couple times because his Volkswagen van that we crammed all the motorcycles into had some sort of a problem. We had to stop at Napa or go to Stater Brothers or whatever. So not too far from where my stopping grounds were with my dad all the time. So it's pretty awesome.
Cool. And I love history and mining history, and that area has immense mining history all over. And I'm not just interested in gold mining, even though that's my focus. I like all mining because if you can't grow it, you gotta mine it. And so much came from those mines, from borax, copper, silver, like Cerro Gordo, silver, well, galena, so silver and copper, and some reports of gold, and the Miners Trail, and so much Keen Mine, and Skidoo, and Paradise Canyon, and so much. Do you plan on doing more? Is there more in the archives?
So I don't have any more in the archives with my dad. However, I did do one for Cyril Station, and I was kind of highlighting the reason, kind of the origins for Ridgecrest itself, because the railroad that was put in place and it was to service the aqueduct construction. But in addition, it was a way to get from some of the mining areas up north, like say Keeler in the Owens Valley, down to the LA Basin, because the nearest railroad location was Mojave. And so I am planning on covering some other things as well. Just unfortunately not with my dad, but I do
Right.
feel that I kind of feel the bug from him, and I'm starting to do a lot more research and getting some more video content created. So the reason why you end up seeing the shorts is because I had the episodes already built, and I just decided, why don't I just slice and dice this and putting some shorts out, and apparently it was a big success. So
Well, it's amazing. There's a whole lot of people out there that are ADD like me, or ADHD, whatever. It's hey squirrel, and a 30-second, 60-second short is just great. A lot of times I'm at lunch just scrolling through YouTube shorts, and
well, one of the
I
things.
kind of liked his look too, his leather chaps and his scruffy desert rat look. All respectful. I didn't mean desert rat in any derogatory way, but
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, he always loved to dress up like that, and so he was walking around the whole town of Ballarat specifically for that. He would also do parades and everything. What's really interesting though is the amount of knowledge that he would always share, because I think some of the treasures that we find is the history, and then getting involved and understanding that history is kind of the big treasure I always glean from him. So in order to kind of share some of that. That the spirit of my dad. I am putting together a sub channel for YouTube that's covering. It's doing a bunch of trivia questions for all these different areas. So just short clips. But while I've been going through and preparing all these, I'm learning so much more about some of the areas that I used to love to explore, and even some of the ones I used to hear him talk about. So Calico, Bodie, Cerro Gordo, Ballarat, Panamint City specifically, and then I'm even touching into some of the old like what was happening like early 1900s, even before the railroad came into the valley I'm in right now, Ridgecrest. And so it was all cattle.
Mhm.
And I'm seeing hints about that all over the place. So, but, learning from building all this trivia, content I'm going to be putting out. So it's going to be one a day that's going to be released. So be watching out for that. But
Well, if I recall right, there's quite a bit of even native history in the area with pictographs and all kinds of stuff like that also.
There was also some interesting stories about. I'm still trying to correlate it all, but one of the stagecoach stops here in the valley of where I live, Indian Wells Valley, they called Coyote Hole, and so that was where the Vasquez brothers, or the Vasquez gang, ended up robbing the stagecoach. But one of the other things I stumbled across was conflicts with the local native Indians, and Coyote Hole was apparently a spot that they loved to go to because of the shade area and a little bit of water in the canyon. And it's like, okay, it kind of makes sense, but still have a hard time kind of correlating all of the stories together.
Oh, geez, to get shade out in that part of California, ooh, that can be very scarce,
Absolutely.
But yeah, so you is that more or less the background of your channel?
Yes, it is. So, I mean, for Dusty Desert Trails, at least for that particular
That's a
hashtag.
series.
That's correct. That series, it's all the history that I can focus in on one particular area, and so the more recent one that I did of Cyril Station, it took several months to put all of the information together to kind of create that content. But it was like rapid fire. Here's this picture. Here's this story. Here's that story, and so that was. It was fun once it was put together, but it was painful just getting to that point. I don't think I quite meet up to my dad, but I was always the one doing the video camera work with him. So I tell you, one of the early stories that I distinctly remember was we would always go on the South Park loop to go explore some of the different mines and different little mini ghost towns, specifically Clare Camp up through Pleasant Canyon. Taking the motorcycles up and over into the Middle Park Canyon and then down into South Park, and we'd stop and stay in the cabins. They were actually in South Park Canyon. And keep in mind that it takes us like 2 hours just to get to that location, and that's by the two-wheel drive motorcycle. So nowadays we have side by sides, a lot easier to get to. We decided continuing going all the way up to the top of the South Park Canyon. There's a big airstrip up there because I guess the Briggs, I guess he was trying to sell all of his claims, and he ended up, carving out an airstrip so that way investors could potentially land up there. And he had a couple of mines, so we were out exploring one of the mines up there, and realizing that we have no satellite communications, and it's hard for us to obviously get out on. It was just me and him, and so we go down. We explore this one mine. Looked like nobody's really been in it really at all. And then on the way down, we're kind of sliding because there's a big long switchback trail in order to get to there. We decided, no, we're going to go and slide down the mine tailings a little bit faster in order to be able to get back to the bikes. And we stop, and my dad sees the snake just sunning himself on the rocks. Keep in mind, this is a April time frame. And so, Panamint rattlesnake, and we're sitting there, and he like, grab the camera. And we're recording this, and we hear rattling and we hear hissing, but it's not this guy. And so we stop the camera, and he walks around this one bush, and inside the bush there is a pile of about 8 to 12 rattlesnakes, and they were in a meeting, whatever they were doing. And obviously they couldn't untwine themselves in order to be able to get us, but it spooked us pretty bad. So to the point that on the way down, back to the bikes, every stick we saw was another snake, and it scared us half to death because we just didn't want to get nailed by those darn snakes. The
Can't
adventures
say I blame you.
the adventures of getting dusty.
Yeah, well, if you trek in the wintertime, you wouldn't have to worry too much about the snakes.
I
But
see somebody asking a question about the old
yeah,
Rokon. So we were using the old two-stroke one. So I know he would he would mix the fuel ahead of time. He had the hollow hubs, so we can put 5.5 gallons of water in one, 5.5 gallons of gas in the other, and then we can go up in the hills for days. And so he also furnished a bunch of ammo cans onto the sides, a saddle, bags, and then even went to the far as building a trailer out of a 55-gallon drum with a big old frame, and then using bicycle wheels. And I would lay it on the back of this thing, and every now and then we'd hit a rock, and the thing wants to flip over. I'd had to reach back and push it back down, and we'd keep on going. But that's the older, I believe 87, I think was one of the years for the Rokon two-wheel drive bikes that we were using.
yeah, they look pretty cool in the video I watched.
Yeah.
About go over anything.
They will.
Bill says it sounds like an adventure to me. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Surprise Canyon is now closed down. So, in order to get up to places like Panamint City, unfortunately, it's all by hiking now. So you can't take any motor driven.
Well, that's all part of Death Valley now, isn't it? Or Death Valley National Park, is it, or a monument?
They did a land grab, and so they've shut that down as part of a wilderness protection thing. But they haven't done that for the other roads and the other nearby canyons. Keep in mind that they were doing Rubicon.
There must be some really good gold in that area still then, or really good silver reserves then. They're like, oh, we better close that off.
I'm not sure it was that. I think it was more the environmentalists complaining because the Jeeps would have their Rubicon runs up the waterfalls, and it was 78 winch operations to get up and down the falls. People would bring wood and all kinds of other things that would be able to help them get up and over. And so you'll see in one of the videos, I stopped and there's somebody ended up carving out. Stupidity has no limits, or I forget exactly what it was, but. It was funny. He pulled his hat up and he just got a little goofy, and he said, "Yes, sirree. Humankind stupidity has no limits." Because we used to take the two-wheel drive motorcycles up this, but you could still see the grooves and the marks from all the tire tracks of the Jeeps hauling up there as well. So.
Well, you weren't the first to make grooves in the desert and in the Mojave or in Washington or Oregon or. They did that when the gold rushers came out.
Absolutely.
I think the environmentalists and the federal government get a little carried away. I think they kind of work hand in hand. I'm not a political show or religious unless the politics directly involve treasure hunting.
Well, I do know that Surprise Canyon got washed out many times over the years. The first time I went up Surprise Canyon, there was this big ore cart. It was wedged in some of the rocks on the very top, and it was so heavy that Jeeps would use that as a winch point to be able to pull everything up and over the top of the falls. And then was probably late 90s. All of a sudden, it got washed out. It got knocked loose, and it was at the bottom of the falls. And there was 2 additional falls added on to the whole trail. We ended up taking one last trip up right around year 2000. And it was just me and my dad. And of course, we had the that darn wagon, the trailer again. And we managed to get the whole thing up and over the top of the falls. And when we got there, we were expecting to have a nice clean road from there all the way up to Panamint City.
But no,
never that easy. We had boulders all over the place, and so it was ride the bike 50 feet, drag the trailer 50 feet type of scenario. So we got
now just think how it was in the late 1800s or even early 1900s when
Absolutely.
all of that was being explored and stuff. Jeez, I swear the stuff the old timers went through would kill the average man today.
But at the same time, you also see the adventure that they would see, and what kind of captivated them
Mhm.
about places like Surprise Canyon and Panamint City. Because while my dad and I were just walked through the canyon with all the stuff that's been washed out and everything, he just reached down. He goes, "Oh, look at this!" He picks up this rock. It's about the size of your fist, and it was bug eaten quartz, and it had a bunch of silver on the one side, and it was you just running some water across it. It shines all day long, and it's it's like, oh, we didn't dig for it; it was just right there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's some very rich tailing piles in that area. You know, it just it would be so hard for me to go to areas like that and not be tempted out to take a sample out with me. It'd be like, oh, rock, ooh, pretty rock, ooh, silver rock, nice, or ooh, malachite on this one, or ooh, silver, or ooh, shiny gold, yeah. But next thing you know, Sierra Club will be doing some kind of mining out there and calling it heavy metal cleanup or something like they're doing now in the Sierras with dredging. But that's a whole nother episode altogether there. So your dad inspired you with that niche and series, but what's your channel really about? Is it variety? I know I saw all kinds of stuff in it.
It was kind of a variety of stuff, honestly. And where my main YouTube channel kind of took off was when I started doing DIY tutorial, like how I did something on my RV, and then what the process was and the end result. And so, and that was what they YouTube changed their policies with how many subscribers you needed and video content watching in order to be able to monetize anything. And so I was not making the mark at all. And as soon as I started making content for the RV, all of a sudden I broke 1,000. I'm like, oh well, okay, that's I guess it's kind of cool here. Just doing little short tutorials on how to build things or fix things or improve things. And that was kind of
Right.
where the main part of the my YouTube channel kind of sits. But I'm kind of trying to switch over to be a little bit more historical. But yeah.
Is that why you're creating the other channel?
Yes, I'm creating the other channel because I wanted to have all the historical stuff over on the sub channel. Unfortunately, I'm
Niche down to just that.
correct. So that's Dusty Desert Trails. I don't have a content up there right now, but that's what I'm going to be uploading all the trivia stuff too. And then once I get enough subscribers on that sub feed, I'll probably move my main episodes over onto that Dusty Desert Trails side. So
Well, let me know when you're ready to share the link to it. I'll put it in the description of this video, and then people can find that also. And I'll come back even later down the road, and I'll put a card way up in that corner, way over there at this part during the replay, so they can head over to that channel. If you had it ready now, I'd be like, man, send me a link on Facebook and I'll get it in there. But
yeah, I have some videos that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get everything staged. I'll probably have this ready to go probably tomorrow. But it's at Dusty Desert Trails on YouTube. So if you either search by youtube.com/Dusty at Dusty Desert Trails,
mhm.
or if you just search for the hashtag Dusty Desert Trails, you should find my main content as well as some of the trivia content I'm putting together.
Okay, well, I'll look for it later, and if I don't already have it, I'll find it. because I do have a few of your links to your social media down below. JP, Music Man Mark Miller's in the house. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. If you all have any questions for Ed, please tag me so it stands out so I'll see it, because I'm an old man with glasses. So, um, so how has your YouTube journey evolved since you first started? So,
Let's see. First, I mean, first clip that I did that actually was even remotely successful was just a close up video with a new iPhone of of a cricket chirping. I mean, that's kind of where it started with YouTube. Then I was doing stuff that was weather related in the area, just trying to share that out. And I think now it's evolved into, let me try to make video content that has a purpose, which is to educate people. Maybe it's it's for like RVs or the side by side or something like that. But now it's
right,
kind of like, well, let's figure out how to kind of keep some history going and try to teach some of the younger generation, what has been and where we came from, type of thing. Because I think I think a lot of the younger generation doesn't necessarily visit to the museums and appreciate some of the history in the same way. So trying to make content that, hey, you might be able to learn something here or there, or with something on a platform that you're used to seeing. So that's kind of how I've evolved on my YouTube feeds.
I think we all evolve pretty similar, I believe. We start with the tools we have. Like when I started in '08, I think I still have one of them because I dropped several in water before and wrecked it. A Kodak Easy Share. And at that time, YouTube only allowed 10 minutes. And that's about all my camera would take, was 10 minutes. And you could hear the lens cap blown in the wind, hitting up against my camera and stuff. Oh, it was bad. But, we all start at zero and we learn, especially people like me that are self-taught, and you with videography and stuff, you're self-taught as well. It's like, son, here's a camera, film, and watch that old stuff. I'm right with you. I hear you, Shannon. I hear you. Whatever. You're young. So, um,
Yeah, currently I
well,
really enjoy going out to some of the different sites and just kind of asking the questions like, what is this for, or how did this get here, type of thing. I think one of the areas I'm starting to kind of dig and explore in right now is the Dove Springs area, which a lot of people are quite familiar with for off-roading, but maybe not understanding the historical significance of that. How there was a train, little mini depot sitting there for about a year just to service the aqueduct construction, and that's the same spot that everybody piles in with their RVs to go off-roading, and they don't even realize they're parking right in the middle of where the old Y used to be. So it's just funny how we can walk right past history and not even notice it.
well, there's quite a bit of that in the Mojave, especially like out east more, where you get closer to the Colorado and stuff, and you'll have the railroad serving not only the aqueduct, but some lines and stuff would service the miners and mines and mills also. And because I'm always like on Google Earth or Google Maps, and zooming in on this and that and clicking on towns, because I make a lot of mining history shorts, and so I'm in the maps and I'm looking at names, and then I Wikipedia them and stuff. And all right, well, that was a logging town, like the town up by, oh, doggone it, Ed, I'm having a brain fart with the name of it. It's one of the most well preserved mining towns in California, up by Mono Lake.
I believe you're talking about Bodie.
Bodie, yeah. Well, the railroad there down more, believe it was on the southeast side of Mono Lake, started off as a lumber company, and they railed lumber up to Bodie, and then got into ore, and it's everything's kind of intertwined and connected. And the same way with on the east side of the Mojave Desert, you have that line that really was there to help service the aqueduct, and then they'd start serving, because I've come across just little blips on, you have a town in the middle of nowhere, and it ended up being a staging station area for the railroad and then the mining industry, and it pretty much came from the aqueduct. Now, I'm sure that kind of happened with the aqueduct that fell, that went to LA from the lake that's no longer there by Keeler. Oh, I'm having a brain fart on that lake
Owens
too.
Lake.
Owens Lake, thank you, in Owens Valley in Nye County, California. Thank you. Duh, 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 duh.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of history with all that. But what's really neat to look at and realize is that like even the town I'm in right now, Ridgecrest, it wasn't a thing back then, and if it was Trona was the big thing, because there was mining operations that were happening out there for borax and other minerals and everything, and that town really boomed. And then the aqueduct came in, infrastructure was put in place, and then they ended up running a spur line from Cyril Station out to Trona. And after the aqueduct work was done, people started homesteading in the valley here. But they still had, other various, still had some minor stagecoach runs going back and forth, but all of a sudden became obsolete once the train got put in place. And then so just fast forward about 40 years, the Army came in, and they needed a secluded area to be able to do some research in order to be able to help fight for World War II. And so they settled in on the Inyokern area, and then eventually created the Navy base, which is out here. And one of the first things they did, they were dropping what they called pumpkins. They were simulation shells for the Fat Man and Little Boy. No, Fat Man, Little Boy, yeah. Those were for the Hiroshima Nagasaki drops, and they were trying to test the flight characteristics, so that way they can make sure that they land, they don't land, but they end up making it onto whatever target that they wanted, because of the unruly shape and size. That it wasn't a normal type of weapon that would fly through the air, so they had to test like 150 times in order to get all of the flight characteristics correct.
Well, yeah, just in your area alone of Ridgecrest, you have a lot of mining history down by Red Mountain and Rand.
Absolutely. Got the
all
Randsburg, Garlock. And what's funny is even Garlock, for example, it was originally called Cowwells. And so it kind of goes right into the next video that I'm actually working on. I haven't even finished putting the script for it yet. but it was just how they would run cattle from the Lone Pine area all the way down to Antelope Valley and back and forth, and there was no infrastructure in place, but they would still run the cattle all over the place, and then Garlock actually was the water source for Randsburg. So as Randsburg was kicking up with all the yellow, like the Yellow Aster mine and all those other things, they were actually bringing water from Garlock over to Randsburg area.
Yeah, and you have the Kern River not far away from you, actually, and Kennedy Meadows is not that far out of reach. The highest point in the lower 48 with, Mount Whitney up more towards Lone Pine and stuff, or Lone Pine. Sorry, Lone Pine. Lone Pine. But tons of history in the area. And, have you researched on the lost 49ers of the Death Valley and stuff like that also?
I have. The members of the Jayhawker party ended up coming up and over by Trona area, and there's actually a nice little monument and everything that's kind of hidden in the hills. I have not been to yet. I'm going to be probably working on a video for that. But they end up coming through this town area, Ridgecrest, and the first water hole that they came across was Indian Wells, and the reason why they even called it that was because there was evidence of Indian activity and some of the horse trails that was nearby leading to that particular water hole, and that was 1849. So yep.
Yeah, a lot of old rugged west up there, and you even have some up closer to Owens Valley more and stuff. You have even some Hollywood motion picture history there in
Alabama Hills, like Tremors, for example, was all filmed out there.
Alabama Hills, yes. And it's been famous from Audie Murphy movies to John Wayne, and of course, let's not forget Tremors.
Good old perfection. Yeah, it was always such a great adventure getting out, get dusty out on the trails, and now I have a side by side, and it kind of allows me to get into some of these different locations and try to experience some of that history again, just like my dad and I used to do. Now I get to kind of pass it on to another generation, and that's kind of what's really fueling and driving me for new video content is let's go out and let's go explore something, and let's get something a little bit harder to get to than just your normal
well, I'll give you some ideas and stuff. How about have you thought about doing some research and go up and explore the Champion spark plug mine and stuff? That's not far from your area, I believe.
I will pen that in and try and see if I can dig something up on that one. I am not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I know. I if you looked at my map, you'd be, oh my God, look at all those pin drops. Heart stars and flags.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just so many I have to kind of remember where it is. But I believe it's not far from it's within the Inyo Valley area, I believe it is.
Near
but it's really
California.
easy. Okay, there you go. You're already researching it.
Oh, absolutely. Very
And
interesting.
a really hard one for you. I don't know. You might have to hike into that one. You might say like, I don't know, but Beverage, California.
Hmm.
I believe there's still a stamp mill down in that canyon and stuff, and that's I believe it's on the other side of the peaks of that ridge between Death Valley and Owens Valley. But yeah, I believe there's, uh, from what I understand, it's well worth the adventure getting there. There's some old miner's cabin. There might be even a volunteer cabin there, along with an old stamp mill and a bunch of other stuff. And I believe, like the Champion Spark Plug mine, I believe there's like two or three uh, volunteer cabins there. They have a cabin as a museum, and there's a upper and lower area. It's pretty. I really enjoyed the research and gathering the photos of it when I made a short on it. Um, it's definitely pinned on my want to go to on my map. It's pathetic. It's like all over. Um, when I get to retirement, I we want to get quite a bit more nomadic and be able to travel and enjoy and dip pans here and dip pans there, or do a little beeping or whatever there, and hiking or whatever it takes. But
I tell you, getting some of those old stamp mills are getting harder and harder to find. The one at Claire Camp was recently cleaned up, and a bunch of the old buildings knocked down and drug out by BLM. It's getting harder to find some of those things, especially when it's already easily accessible. So yeah, probably hike in
I,
or side by side in is going to be the option.
it kind of ticks me off when BLM or U.S. Forest Service will actually demolish a place or burn down a cabin when they could let either volunteers voluntarily take care of it and be useful, or let it, like some states, they have like old barn laws where you can't tear down a barn that's over 100 years. It has to fall down naturally or be restored.
Hmm.
And I think it should be that way with BLM. Yeah, I can understand them making mines and like vertical shafts, a drift shaft or something, cage it off, so no one will fall in it. But
Yeah.
when they start destroying um, mill
Monuments,
sites
history. Yep.
and history, yeah, it kind of leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Hippie Explorer West, good to see you. Nick True, welcome. Got people from all over the country in our chat room, and a couple of friends from the land down under. Uh, you too, Wilbur. No, you call me Mr. Ed Michael Org, and I call you Wilbur. Remember, you always get that mixed up. You always get that mixed up. For the love of Michael. Just looking. No, you're not, Kevin. You're actually typing in the chat room. I see you. But I want to thank all our lurkers out there. Dan Hurd, if you're lurking, Jeff Williams, Lilla, Polly, or Two Toes, or Smith's Gold. We love our lurkers. here at Tuesday Night Hangout Live and Flash in Your Pan also. And why I'm thanking people, we're already an hour into the show. Thank you, everyone who listens over at iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube Music, and other podcast sites. I greatly appreciate it. You're right, Adam. All awesome people. You forgot totally, though. Like, I'm going to get back to my Orange County beach bum roots here. Like, you're all totally awesome dudes and dudettes. So, have you, well, you brought up Panamint City, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Panamint and where else do you need to go? The King. See, I heard they stopped. You can't. They closed off the Keen Wonder Mine, but that'd be a cool place to check out too. Such a huge tram there and such a rich mining history. I'm looking at my map saying here. That way, since I'm so far away till I get there, I could live vicariously through some of your content, maybe. But Skidoo has the mill up there by Skidoo. That's still open.
That's probably a good location to check out. I remember my dad talking about that quite often as well. And there's also some ties to Skidoo from, I think, was it? I think he mentioned Shorty Harris maybe came from Skidoo.
Sure. Actually, I believe Shorty Harris was one of the founders of Skidoo, but from what I've understand, it wouldn't be the first either, because I believe Panamint Springs and in that area too, he also helped in the discovery of silver there as well. From what it looks like in my research of that region, he was like all over Death Valley, even up to oh geez, I have all these names going in my head right now, and when I want to say them, I'm not. Oh goodness.
David Villa is asking about if Panamint City is still open to the public. Yes, it is still open. Unfortunately, it's by hike only, and so you have to climb over the waterfalls. Prepare to get wet. It's not like just grab some galoshes and just try to climb over these things. You're gonna slip, fall. This slicker than snot is the phrase my dad used to describe these polished rocks with the water. But once you get up and over them, there's a couple more streams you walk past, and it was 10 miles from Chris Wick's camp up to Panamint City.
Well, do you go over the border at all, like up to Betty and to what's that, Leapfrog, is it, or Toad, or
getting up into Panamint City?
No, area and
so I mean the way you get to Panamint City is go into Panamint Valley through Ballarat, and then there's a road that goes from there up into the mouth of Surprise Canyon. Then from there it just stops right at Chris Wick Camp, and then it's just hiking from there up.
Yeah, I sorry David Villa, sorry Ed, I kind of shift gears there. Because I was kind of I'm looking at my map and I'm trying to, but I got over into Nevada, and there's Nevada and the borderline of California and Nevada has a very rich history too, and I know Rolite, it's right there, which has a rich history, and there's, what is it, the bullfrog? Bullfrog, is it? I know it's something frog mining district, which is in the Rollite area. And Betty, of course, which is a still existing town. So, but do you ever get up into Nevada also?
Not necessarily. However, on this more recent trip up to during Thanksgiving to visit some family, I did pass through a couple other towns, and I kind of took note of them, did some more research, and I am putting together video content trivia wise from the Dusty Desert Trails feed. So I'm gonna be covering stuff like Ballrat, Barker Ranch. I'm even touching on Bishop, Bodie, Calico, Cerro Gordo. Goldfield, that's up in Nevada, Leadville, Nevada City. So a bunch of these different places that I'm going to be kind of hitting on, and I guess maybe in light of all this, I'll probably go ahead and release one bank of videos probably first thing tomorrow, just so everybody has some content to dig through. I'm kind of interested to see interactive style of which areas I've listed off if people would be interested in the chat. So.
Well, you've had to gone up to Burrow Schmidt's tunnel then.
I have, yes.
It's right in your backyard.
It is. Burrow Schmidt's tunnel is really interesting because it's for the most part it's like straight. It's weird how he was able to make that thing so straight, and then his original purpose to not have to haul ore up and over the hill was completely just outmoded because there was a road
he spends 30 years digging a tunnel through the mountain, and
it was
at least he didn't give up when they finished the road. He's like, damn it, I've done it this long, I'm gonna continue.
But one of the strange things about the Burrow Schmidt tunnel is you get almost all the way to the end, and then it forks, and you go left, and it doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of dead ends. But you go right, and that's where it dumps you out into. It has this big, huge overlook. And honestly, I was not expecting the beautiful overlook that we came across. It was overlooking all of the valley near Garlock. It was really awesome to see. It was. Kind of like, okay, this is what it was for, and then he didn't even use it. Because my next question at the end of that was, where's the road?
Right. Now there's a road up on top of the mountain and a trail down from the road to the lookout at the tunnel.
That's exactly it. It was like, okay, well, if they were planning on building a road inside this other canyon, is that really the easiest way to do this?
Right. But I just, man, wonder if he had any good ore in that tunnel too.
It was mostly granite, so I think he may have bumped into a few things here and there, but when we walked through it, the only shoring that we saw was at the entrance and the exit, and there was no shoring the rest of the way through Burrow Schmidt Tunnel. It was mostly granite.
Man, be some hard digging there.
Apparently, he was going cheap on some of the fuses and almost blew himself up a couple times too. So, some of the adventures of mining.
Well, here's some other places you could take Dusty Trail to. It's in your backyard for the most part, and well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I would say it's in your backyard. The Bonanza Trail Post Office. It's to the north of Burrow Schmidt's Tunnel. Pretty much directly due north. Probably about 1, 2, 3.5, 4 miles due north as the crow flies.
Oh, that's easy, no problem.
by Bickle Camp.
Yep.
Bickle Camp's about halfway in between Burroughs Schmidt's Tunnel and Bonanza Trail Post Office. All the stuff I'm seeing, it's like I see more stuff too. Oh, ooh, look, squirrel. There's Colorado Camp too, a little to the east, and all of that's pretty much in your backyard.
Yep. I've been to the Bickle camp already, so it's it looked like it was still an active camp to be used for prospecting in that area.
Cool. Yeah. Looks from the pictures I'm seeing, it's actually a YouTuber miner friend of mine out of Arizona. I think he has. They were going to tear down this camp, I believe, at one time, and people kind of said no.
Ooh.
And forced the BLM to kind of keep it. And there's volunteers and stuff now that watch over it and caretake it.
Well, that is definitely on my list now, so I will be exploring that.
If I'm recalling correctly, Ed. So things come and go with my squirrel brain, you know. Oh, hey, look. Oh, look. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm getting distracted with maps and the Inyo County and the Mojave and stuff. There's in the Mojave Desert. It's beautiful country. Yes, it's dry and it's arid and it can kill you, but it's sure beautiful. The desert has its own beauty. You know, it's so many. It's sad when people just look at a desert and say, "That is that all there is?" You know, and they can't really look past the lava flows and the cactus and all that and see the real beauty. You know, beauty has many forms.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I love getting out on the trail and seeing more stuff as well. David Villa was asking in the chat, asking if Rocky is still the caretaker out at Ballrat. No, he is not. I know his dad ended up getting sick, and then he ended up leaving Ballrat. He's now staying in Trona. And Lightfoot Louie, he's another longtime caretaker of Ballrat. He's kind of in and out, actually, with my mom, and helping to help maintain Ballrat. I think there's some relatively new owners of the town site as well, and they're trying to help maintain it as a destination for people to come and visit the area and kind of use it as a launch point as they go getting dusty up in the hills, because it is a kind of rather popular location, but it definitely gets into a lull when it in between June and September, just because it breaks 110 on a regular basis out there.
Oh, but you have other places. You could head up towards like Kennedy Meadows and Whitley and stuff during the summertime. Even though up in the Sierras it can get kind of brutal too. But yeah, I could understand like during the hot time of year you just might want to take it easy, work on editing in a nice air conditioned dwelling or something, because you know you're really close to like the hottest place in the lower 48, if not the world. So.
What's really interesting though is when you start to think about like, well, I wouldn't go there. Well, what if somebody in your family was staying out there on purpose, and they're dependent on water sources that they're pulling from, say, Pleasant Canyon, and their water lines break or something like that, and so what the regular maintenance and upkeep in order to be able to get the resources they need in order to be able to survive, and contingency plans of that. It's really interesting when you have to kind of dig into the logistics of these people stayed out there for so long, and they were, and it was like, think Seldom Seen Slim, for example. He was out prospecting constantly, and he lived there for many decades. And so it's like, how do you survive in a place like that, and you continue on, and instead of just just giving up, like a lot of us would probably do, and say, nope, it's too hot. No, the people lived in the environment no matter how harsh it was, because of whatever rewards they were going to get, or because they enjoyed being as a hermit. I don't know.
Oh, underground housing was really popular out there. You know, they would dig in and use what they can in the natural surroundings to help keep them cool in the summer and warm in the winter, because a lot of that's high desert and it gets brutally cold in the winter time, let alone brutally hot in the summertime.
Well, I know Briggs. So if anybody looks up the Briggs cabins of South Park Canyon, you'll end up finding at least the ones in the middle part of the canyon. But he used to have a cabin down in the lower part of the valley, and then you had the one in the middle, and then you had one on the upper part. And the upper part is way up near the overlook where you could see all of Stripe Butte Valley from. And so he would move to various different locations and then mine at the respective mines in that general vicinity throughout the year, just because he was just trying to avoid the extreme temperatures. So sometimes it's just a matter of just moving around.
Oh, yeah, if you could have a camp here and a camp there, the natives did it, you know.
Absolutely.
They would go to the high land during the summer and the low land during the winter. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can
There's
see
ways to
that.
do it.
Yeah, Briggs always up to something.
Yeah, that's probably one of my other favorite locations is the Briggs cabin, and it's been pretty well maintained over the years, because you have volunteers that go up there and help it and make improvements and keep it up. And it was always a leave it better than you found it type of thing. And even back in the late '90s, I was just amazed at what was there, and how you could just go there and just stay a couple nights, and then just to use that as a launch point for further up in the hills. It's always awesome to do, other mines to explore and stuff like that.
Know what's funny, Ed? I grew up in Anaheim, and I didn't catch gold fever till I totally exited California and moved up to Washington in the late '80s. But I've lived by Oatman, Arizona, which is a very historic mining town that's still active. And I didn't prospect. I, our family had property out in Apple Valley, Victorville, um, and Apple Valley had its own mining district. To think if I would have caught the gold bug then, I already liked history. My dad was a history teacher, so I already liked history, but I was too busy down at like Newport and Huntington Beach chasing girls in bikinis and surfing instead of going to school and stuff. When if I was gonna be ditching, I wish I would have been ditching and dredging or dry washing or something. Getting some adventure and some gold at the same time instead of spending money to go surfing.
Absolutely. It's sometimes it's a matter of priorities.
Oh, hindsight is often 2020, but all that made me what I am today, or a lot of that helped make partially what I am today. So it was fun while I was doing it, let me tell you. But I'm sure if we were up at like my Aunt Letty's in Apple Valley a lot more, or up at our property in Apple Valley a lot more, I probably would have been exploring a lot more in the Apple Valley and greater area in that part of the lower Mojave, so.
Well, I actually grew up in Victorville area, so it's actually kind of interesting. You're talking about Apple Valley and all. My dad and my family, so just me, my mom, and my dad. We used to go up. I don't know exactly where it was, but there was he used to take a dredge. And there was this waterfall back in the hills, and he would dredge for gold just in the hills.
Nice.
He was always pointing out and telling me look for this look for the black sand. It's the iron deposits, and if you're finding that, you're likely to find other things that are heavier. So
Yeah, it's a good indicator. Yeah, my dad actually taught school in Victorville. He was a football coach and taught there. And my brother, that's where they lived before they bought a house in Anaheim, where I was born. My oldest brother was born in Victorville. Uh, So it could have ended up. I could have ended up being a little desert rat and heading to Hesperia Hot Springs and stuff all the time. And another Charles Manson hangout for those who might not know. Um, and that was Hesperia Hot Springs, right? The Manson.
no, I'm not sure
Uh,
about that one.
No, that might be Deep Creek. Deep Creek,
Yeah, that sounds
just
more like it.
like the Deep Creek Ranch and stuff
Mhm.
now, and going into the hot springs at Deep Creek, not Hesperia Hot Springs, Deep Creek. Yeah, sorry, my bad. All these names swirling around in this head of mine, it's crazy.
Always fun getting out and exploring.
So did I, Eric. I enjoyed history a lot, and it even made it great that my dad was a California historian and a history teacher. What's the. That's crazy, Ed. I didn't know that. Huh? A lot of things. But I did live next to Pelican Bay, where Manson's was housed at the time.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Judy is behind here laughing. So, have you ever done any prospecting?
Unfortunately, I have not. The only prospect I've really ever done was with my father, and so just with some of the dredge work or picking up pieces of silver out of the stream in various locations. But as far as me going out solo, no, I have not. I think the last time I had a gold pan in my hand was probably 20 years ago.
Well, it's never too late to pick it back up. Let me tell you. I I know when we talked, I'm like, yeah, but you do history and stuff that too with your dad and stuff, and So I I thought I think you're meshing quite well, actually. Got to catch that fever, Ed. Kevin says, Ed. I already have it. We got to get this guy's catch the fever again. He actually lives in a really good area for all kinds of prospecting, not just gold, silver. There's a rich history during the war effort for other minerals they used during the war effort. I know the mineral, but again, it's right here that I can't think of the name of it. Oh, gee whiz. Come on, Ed. That's what I get from shooting from the hip all the time, Ed. You know, I've started using some bullet points and stuff, but I hardly ever even use them. You know, I have a list here of stuff, and I don't think I've touched one.
Sometimes the best shows though are the ones that are spontaneous and you just have a natural conversation though. David Villa, you're asking if I'm going to be getting into metal detecting. I am considering picking up a metal detector and trying to when I get out and on the get dusty on the trail, at least have something I can at least do some searching for, because I know there's all kinds of stuff. It may not be gold and silver, but I know there's all kinds of other cool things to find in the dirts that are history related, to help tell the story about where something is. One of the things I really loved doing, I wanted to do with my dad, but didn't get a chance to. I was doing the serial station, just walking around and seeing foundations here and other like the water tower there, and it's pulling out stuff. Something like a metal detector would to help build onto that story and to help us understand really what's going on, because some of the history, like what is actually this foundation, what was its purpose, and it's hard to kind of piece together, because it's not necessarily highlighted or advertised or anything like that. So sometimes you have to dig for it yourself in order to understand what's going on.
Here I am looking at the map, trying, not even looking at my bullet points and stuff. I'm looking at a map. Crazy, Ed. Um, do you have any, like, what's your creative process for planning and filming your videos?
Oh
You
wow.
said you've been researching this one video forever, it seems like. So
I'll be honest. I try to do a little bit of script, but I have a bit of a stutter problem, and I'm very self conscious of it especially when I have a camera pointed at me, and so I try not to fumble and stumble and everything, and so when I did the serial station video, I had to keep pausing and stopping and restarting and re-recording all these different clips. And thank goodness I wasn't on camera for it. It was just a voiceover, because it would have been chop suey. But as far as getting out to some of the locations, I mean, I plan on having like some cue cards of some basic information, but usually it's just a matter of what I've kind of picked up, what I've researched and kind of pseudo memorized, and then just okay, here's this location. Just start recording, and then just start talking about what we've learned, and trying to connect what I've learned to where I'm at, and then boom, now we have a clip. From there, as far as the putting the final product together, is I try to make it to where it's at least a cohesive story. And sometimes getting all your content is not in a cohesive way. Sometimes you're all over the map, and then you have to come back and edit and grind it in order so that way your viewers can actually understand what the heck you're rambling about. So it's kind of a mess. But as far as like, do I have a script and everything when I'm doing some of my recordings? Not necessarily. I just have an idea that, hey, I want to go ahead and focus on this, and then we go out to that location, and then we let the adventure that we're on kind of pivot the story that we're trying to tell. So
Yeah, I tried a script once. I used to have a series I called In the Shed with Ed, where uh, I'd make stuff for the prospector on the budget with what I would glean from job sites and stuff. But it was a video on dowsing and the origins of dowsing and the history of dowsing and using it for prospecting stuff. And I had it. I made a really crummy green green room in my shed. It was terrible. I used a green shirt or a green sheet, and it was kind of darker. It wasn't like a chroma key screen like I have behind me. It was a sheet, and it was a few shades darker, and it was really hard to do the chroma key on it. But I had a tripod here with part of the script on it, and then another tripod over here with another part of the script, and here, and I'd have my camera changes at each time, I'd read past it. Then I'd have to cut and switch them around and start again, and then putting it into editing afterwards. Um, and I think that was the one and only video that I really did any actual script, and I really didn't like it. And
it's rather stressful even when you do try to get a script, because like what I did for the Cyril Station video, I pieced together all these different pictures, all these different maps, and I was trying to make it to where, hey, here's this map. Well, the map doesn't do you any good unless I actually point to, hey, this one spot is what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to make everything relative. None of that was scripted. And so it was mostly just, hey, here's this piece here. I'm going to go ahead and read through this. And then once I had the video, I was working on the video content itself. It was just, let me just go ahead and kind of throw this together and just kind of build it. Like, it was almost like Lego bricks, but it was a video. And so it's, I had like a hasty plan at least, but as far as like what video content was going to be in there, oh, this is a great picture and we're going to use it over here type of thing. Not planned really at all until I started doing the editing.
Sorry, I was just replying. I heard you and everything, and I know they did, but my friend Bill Marsh, Ohio Relic Hunter, he's like, Ed's new series this spring is going to be called Let's Clean the Shed with Ed. It really, really needs it. And that's been a lot of my major excuse for not doing a lot of my old what I used to do years ago was In the Shed with Ed, because right now I have like this little corner where I do like pay dirt reveals. I don't really do reviews. I do kind of reveals, and I pan it out, and I don't even weigh it and stuff, because return on investment with pay dirt with me, it don't jive really, because I don't get pay dirt for as an investment in gold, because you'll never get. It's not a good investment to invest in gold that way. But if someone sends me pay dirt, or I buy some off of a fellow YouTuber, I'll do a reveal. I'll show the flash in my pan, and it's like, oh, I'm happy, and I don't dry it, I don't weigh it like a lot of people do. That's their thing, and more power to them. But I don't. I tinker and stuff, but that part of my shed is about the only clean part. And there's It looks like a hoarder from hell. It was in there. It's like, oh my gosh. So, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's gold in PA, but thing with PA, it's the rules and regulations are crazy, like Vermont. Uh, but there is gold in there. PA. New York, too, but they still have the Keynes Law in New York. Thank I'm surprised people in Sacramento hasn't said, okay, all the gold you find is ours.
trying to do that with the water right now.
Yeah, yeah. Scoops and pans, no sluices. Technically in Vermont, Via, no sluices are allowed in Vermont. Hands and pans, scoops, shovels and pans. But you could get around that law with the Green Mountain Gold Trap made by my friend Joseph. It's a wonderful fluid bed classification system that traps gold. Very good. Ask Keith Doty. He has one. I have one too. It's my favorite fluid bed. Uh, do you have any treasures you can share, Kristen? Share with us and Kristen? Kristen's wondering. Uh, Part of the family from up north, I would guess the Pacific Northwest.
Uh, ooh, I've kind of been showing it here. This is
I got a picture,
it's a
but
treasure.
that's
It's a
treasure.
treasure for
It's
me.
treasure.
It
Yeah,
really is.
well, it's a historical area. It's a mill chimney.
Absolutely. This is the Panamint smokestack, and so it's still standing. What's weird about it is look. I'm not sure if planes are doing target practice on it or not. But up higher, there's some marks that looks like stuff has been hitting it over the years. But I took this picture when I was in high school. So and this was
Oh,
on one
wow.
of the trips I did with my dad. And so that's the reason why it's in black and white because
That is a treasure.
I was still in Photoshop in high school. So this was taken right around 1999, year 2000. And so yeah, so this is the main one, and then there's a smaller stack that's nearby it as well. And what's really interesting is on that particular trip with my dad, he had this old picture that showed the stack and it had the mill right next to it. And what we were trying to do is we were trying to duplicate that picture, that exact shot, with modern camera and finding the location. And we were using the outline of the mountains in order to be able to help get our alignment all set. And we managed to get it and to take that picture. But this was on the same trip was this, and then we were also exploring some of the mines up in the area. So may not be a treasure for everybody, but this is definitely my treasure.
I would call it a treasure. Definitely, Ed. Definitely. I would call that treasure. And Adam thinks it's awesome. And Kristen says, oh, I must have missed that earlier. That is cool. Treasure isn't always silver and gold, my friends. It's one of my biggest treasures in my lifestyle is the people I meet and have met and plan to meet, along with the places and the tidbits of history I've learned from the places I've been and plan to go. Dorothy says, definitely a treasure.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, you're right, Kristen. The treasure was getting to that spot to take that pic. Definitely.
The cool thing is the cabin that's up there. Everybody kind of calls it the Hilton because it's the better of the cabins. And you can still stay in it now. Obviously, it's hard to get to, but last time I was up there, they even had a flushing toilet. I don't know where it
Oh,
goes.
wow.
They had a running toilet in the Hilton cabin right there at the top of Panamint City.
Wow. Shoot. It sure beats an outhouse, I guess. Hey, better late than never, Justin. Thanks for joining us. There is always the replay available, my friends. Reminder, JP Bar started a half an hour ago, and Gentleman Prospector and Mama Bird starts their New Year's Eve live stream at 10 o'clock tonight. What else? Here, I think I'm going to dig into this list if I see anything relevant now. Okay. Well, I think we covered that almost. I'm going to say it anyway. Do you have a favorite video or project on your channel, and why does it stand out, Ed? I think we almost pretty much covered that, though.
Well, I mean, a lot of them, just all involving, going on adventures with my dad. But as far as the video that I have up right now, my favorite one would have to be the Surprise Canyon one, only because there's just so many stories with that. And then it was always an adventure to get up Surprise Canyon, or even getting into it as well. Sometimes had its own challenges too. And just being with my dad on that, especially seeing some of the history of the canyon changing, for example, that ore cart that was always at the top and having it come down. David, you're talking about had dangerous situations on trips. Absolutely, one of the things I always also loved about the adventures with my dad that the Surprise Canyon video reminds me of is how he was always Mr. MacGyver, and then he was able to do things in order to be able to fix stuff. We had a cotter pin shear off on one of the Rokon bikes, and because it's front and rear wheel drive, there's a weird umbilical shaft that goes up the core of the bike. Then it hits this miter box on the front, and it has this big old gear. Well, the pin got sheared off, and so my dad, he went to that ore cart that was at the top of the falls, and he pulled something off of it. I'm sure if it was some sort of a wire or something like that, and he ended up fashioning a fix for it. It wasn't the strongest, but it at least got us out of that particular sticky situation. And so that's one of the reasons why that one is really my favorite, because it's kind of the essence of going up into the hills and exploring.
David Villa, have you had any dangerous situations on your trips?
So the run-in with the snakes on the mine tailings was one of them. I had another scare related to snakes on another one. It was actually at the Briggs cabin, and so at the upper Briggs cabin there's this deck, like this awning, and so people use it for shooting and stuff like that. And so they put everything down. They're like, oh, go ahead and go set some targets up for us. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So I climb down the stairs and get down there. I have to cross over through this little wash. And so I find that there's this big boulder. It's pretty massive. And I come walking around this boulder. All of a sudden, I hear hissing and rattling, and I tell you, I start swearing up a storm as a teenager, because I did not want to be bit by a snake. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I understand the risk. We are, let's say 2.5, 3 hours at best to the nearest hospital. And so getting bit by a snake is not exactly an option. You go put your targets up.
Now, Heath, Ed lives in the desert, in the Mojave Desert. Is there Bigfoot in the desert area? Does the desert have Sasquatch? Does Bigfoot? I
No,
know.
I would say no on the Sasquatch, but the hills have eyes. Let's put it that way.
Well, the hills have eyes. Chupacabras, skinwalkers, and chupacabras.
So we would always be staying in Ballarat, for example, and you could always tell that when there's stuff watching you. And we actually had some kit foxes that would come into the camp and be really, really curious on what you're doing. And you also had all the wild burros run all over the place as well. They would watch you from a distance. Sometimes come run through your camp if they were friendly enough. They would want to get pettings and try and beg for food all the time. So not Bigfoot, but we have big donkeys.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of donkeys out there. I think there's actually wild camels on the eastern part of the Mojave around Searchlight, Nevada, in that area, because the cavalry did an experiment with camels in the Mojave Desert. And I guess it didn't end up going so well, so they let them loose. And like the wild burros all over Arizona and in the Mojave of California and stuff, you have wild camels also now.
That is really interesting. I did not hear about that one.
Yeah, something else for you to check out too.
Absolutely.
The new Miss Maniac. Hello, Skipper. Good to see you. I am so glad I live in an area where we don't have any snakes. I grew up with rattlesnakes, and it's kind of nice to be able to walk around without worrying about them. Yeah, that's what was really nice about Northwest Washington. I don't think we had any venomous snakes on the wet side of the Northwest Washington either. You had to go on the dry side of the Cascades to get to anything like that. Hope you had a great Christmas, Santa. Also, Skipper / Santa. That's actually Santa Claus. He don't live in the North Pole. He lives in Alberta, Canada. Well, yeah, there's some nasty horny toads and scorpions out there too. And
I think one of the weirdest things as far as wildlife out in the Ballarat desert area was the horse flies, and they would land on you and they would try to take a big old bite out of you, especially on your neck area. I don't know what it was that they liked, but they definitely want to chase you around all the time.
oh my goodness. Oh. Well, Ed, I appreciate you joining us. I usually run till 10 or after, but I have some couple of friends that are live now and have lives coming up starting at 10. I really enjoyed shooting the breeze with you, Ed. It's been nice. And I'm definitely going to check out your other channel and subscribe to it if I'm not already, because I think when I was looking for your social media and stuff, I might have came across it. At the end of the stream, there's going to be a redirect link to Mama Bird's and Gentlemen's Prospectors live stream. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know if it drops a link in the room or not. I don't know. First time I'm using the redirect. Next week on the 7th of January, we have our friend from Arizona, the one and only Mike Vendetta of Vendetta Prospecting. He'll be joining me again next week on Tuesday Night Hangout Live. And you know me, friends. I'm always searching for new and guests, and I have a pretty good lineup for January, February, into March. And yeah, I asked them, Ed. I book out months in advance. I'd love to go down there and look for more shark's teeth, Adam. I found fossilized shark's teeth in Venice, Florida. I have some mastodon teeth and other stuff from Florida. I hear there's a cool place to really fossil hunt there, and I want to find a big old megalodon tooth one day. And so, thank you very much, Eric. I believe that's what he means, David. Via Florida, I think he meant, David. Or Ed, thank you very much again for joining us tonight. I need a pee for one, and give these people a little break to get where they need to go. Thanks again. Have a safe and sane New Year's Eve and a very blessed and prosperous New Year.
You too, and thanks everybody for tuning in. It was an honor to join the session here today.
Well, maybe we could get you back. Maybe we gave you a little bit of a itching to go out and maybe catch the gold bug again or something. And never know. I might have to hit you up when you get some more Dusty Trails material going.
I'll definitely send it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, my friend. Everybody, I'll see you at JP Bar, and I'll be lurking all over tonight, but I'll be a lot at JP's Bar and Gentleman Prospector and Mama Bird's live stream. It's going to be a good time. Until next week, may you always have a flash in your pan. And you know what I like to say, everybody. Maybe one day, too, I'll meet you on the river. Or you might meet Ed in the desert. You never know. It does happen. So until next time, I think this time we're out of here.
Tuesday Night Hangout Live. We've had our fun. The battery was strong, the night's been won. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is for all of you. FlashFam forever. We'll keep the vibe. Catch us next time. Let's keep
Night
it
comes to a
live.
close. We're feeling great. FlashFam is together. Whenever it feels just right. The wonderful guests, good times, and so much fun. Tuesday Night Hangout Live will turn very soon. Thank you for joining us. It's been a fantastic time. Camaraderie is strong, and we're built to last. Time next time, we look forward to seeing you again. Tuesday Night Hangout Live will be back soon. Give us a like. Don't say goodbye. Just see you later. FlashFam forever. Until we meet again.